To introduce our the next book, the fifth on our shortlist, can I ask Chris Lowe to swiftly put his pads on and join us?
Thank you, Robert. Yes, it gives me great pleasure to introduce a man who, frankly, in this company needs no introduction at all. Vic Marks, distinguished cricketer, writer and broadcaster, and indeed one of the saddest events of the sporting winter was Vic's retirement after 30 years on The Observer and latterly on The Guardian too. But you can't keep a good writer down. He's got a regular column in The Cricketer and he's busy writing books, and very good books too. This one is called Original Spin, Misadventures in Cricket, and he reflects on his playing days and on the people and events that have shaped his professional life for half a century. There's much in this book, which is published by Allen and Unwin, to make you laugh, and the match reports, not surprisingly, are a class apart. His description of facing the lethal Colin Croft had the hairs rising on the back of my neck. But Marks on Peter Roebuck, Marks on Alan Stanford, Marks on Sandpaper Gate, all terrific stuff. Sometimes, as a judge, a book surprises me. Sometimes it's much better than expected. Sometimes it's much worse. This book did not surprise me. I knew it would be one of the best books of the year, and it was. So please welcome Vic Marks to say a word or two about it. Victor.
Hello, Chris. I've got to make a couple of admissions. I'm still reeling about how much Neville Carter's got paid by The Guardian, it sounds like. And I've also been scuttling to page 183 of the Miscellany on Greg Chappell. As far as this book's concerned, I mean, it's such a long time ago now that we wrote it, or I wrote it. My recollection is I actually enjoyed the process far more than I expected. And I wondered why, and I gave it some thought. And then I realized I was really quite fascinated by the subject matter because it's mostly about me. But it's not all about me, don't worry. I've been very lucky. I've played alongside some great characters at Somerset, whether it's from Brian Close, you mentioned Peter Roebuck, Viv, Both, when they were unknowns. So I could draw on that. And from a press box, I played a bit for England as well, with, during the 80s. And I've been in a great position in a press box to, observe the last 30 years or so. So other than that, I think I've forgotten what's in it, really. I mean, it is a long time ago, and it's sad we've had to wait so long to get together.
I bet you haven't forgotten facing Colin Croft.
No, I can just remember that pit. That was the worrying thing. The pit had been made by Colin Dredge, where he landed his front foot on the popping crease. And Croft was bowling at Southport on a ridge, ball flying through. And all I can remember now, 30 odd years on, is where do I put my foot? I can't put it in the hole dug by Colin because I won't be able to move. If I go back, I'm probably going to tread on my stumps. And there was no way I wanted to get anywhere nearer to Croft. I think I solved the problem by nicking the first ball, which took an age to reach the wicketkeeper. But those memories, and I didn't have a helmet. It's so long ago, there were no helmets. Don't bring that back, Chris, now, please.
The second part of the title of this book is Misadventures in Cricket, which raises all sorts of eyebrows.
It does.
Misadventures like what?
Well, hang on a minute. I think I'm going to be honest here that until very close to sort of putting it together and getting rid of it, all these books have to have subtitles for some reason. We have this argument occasionally with publishers. And my supreme editor, Claire Drysdale, we decided that Adventures in Cricket would be the subtitle, which is absolutely compulsory, whether you like it or not. And then a few days before, it was her idea, actually, that if we called it Misadventures, it's just a bit more interesting, possibly. I know you'll say, Sex, Drugs and Rock and Roll Tour, which I was on, I believe. I can't remember much about that. But I mean, the Misadventures may also have included Colin Croft facing him, I realised today, actually, my first ball in first class cricket for Somerset, anyway, was from Andy Roberts. Didn't do very well there. And the last ball I faced in first class cricket, which broke my knuckle for a long time actually, was from Courtney Wolfe. So there were mishaps galore against West Indian fast bowlers, not to mention padding up in my first test match to Abdul Qadir's googly and watching the ball agonizingly now hit middle and off. So there are some genuine misadventures there that I can remember.
And before I let you go, Victor, I gather there's another book on the way.
Well, there is, and this is the fault of lockdown, really, and it's called Late Cuts. I think Robert mentioned the possibility of a title, Late Cuts, which is coming out in June, and I'm not really sure, having written it in lockdown 1 and lockdown 3, whether it was therapy for me or entertainment for someone who reads it, really. It'd be a minor miracle if it's achieves both those outcomes.
I'm sure we'll be discussing it in a future year. But now, thank you very much indeed, Robert.
Cheers, Chris.
Thank you very much. I should just add, in congratulating Vic on his book, that he was for a long time the chairman of this award. But if anyone thinks that he's on the shortlist because he was a former chairman, they could not be more wrong. In fact, I think it was readily agreed that we would do everything we could to keep his book off the shortlist if we could possibly find a way. But it was irresistible, not least. I think we were close to tears, actually. You talk about titles. The fact that you hadn't called it Top Marks or Marks out of 10 or any of those seemingly attractive puns. We were really so overwhelmed that it could be nowhere else but the shortlist.
Have you not read Marks out of 11, which was written in 1985?
Unforgettable.
Anyway, I'm muting now. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you very much. And well done, Vic. Thank you very much.